What's up, everybody? We're back. So we just watched the Bethesda presser. Short affair there, about 35-40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw some cool stuff in there. So let's talk about it. So alongside Brent and Frankie, I'm Ben. We're here on behalf of Short Pause, of course. So make sure you're following our YouTube page here, Short Pause Gaming. Subscribe. We've got tons more E3 stuff coming up for you. But let's talk about what we just saw, guys. So we'll kind of move through the conference here as chronologically as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about what we saw from Bethesda here. So first off, they came out. They started with Bethesda VR.
Mm-hmm.
They called it. They showed us 2 games: Doom VFR, which is coming out for the HTC Vive, and Fallout 4 VR, which is slated for who knows what. They didn't announce any platforms. I didn't see any unless you guys did.
It's going to be the Vive. They're never going to release a game on the Rift.
Okay, so Vive. There's a couple of Vive games. I don't know. What you guys think about what we saw from this? I know none of us are really hardened PC gamers.
Mm-hmm.
While the Vive is cool and the stuff that it can do, none of us have access to that. So it's not something we'll really be able to experience anytime soon. But playing the entirety of Fallout 4 in VR is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I think this is the. I know we don't have PC VR, and that's not really what we cover. You know, we're basically stuck with PlayStation VR for now because obviously the pricing is just really high for PC VR. But at the same time, I think this shows a lot of promise for the future of VR. I mean, we always talk about how we're waiting for like big AAA games to come to VR, and you know, the PSVR has done a great job of bringing some games like that, like like Resident Evil 7. I would even say Firepoint is close to a AAA type of experience. But to be able to see games like this, Doom and Fallout 4 in VR, that's, I think, another step in the right direction, and that has me really excited. Even though it's not something I'm going to be able to play, I'm still very, very excited to see how these games turn out.
The thing about it, the Vive is room-based VR. So
Yeah.
you can imagine like moving around in a room. Like say you've got the power armor in Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
You're moving around a room and a death claw is like bearing down on you, and you're like moving backwards, like shooting your Gatling gun. Like the immersion that could provide in a room-based VR setting is pretty cool to think about. So I don't know. Frank, you got any thoughts on what we saw from VR? I know you were hoping that some of this might be Scorpio bound at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. Like I mentioned during the conference, you see the Deathclaw just coming barreling at you. Like imagining that with the VR headset on, dude, I'm gonna crap my pants. But one of the things I noticed was when they were showing off Doom, they have like a kind of a warping mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
Which I think Batman Arkham VR actually utilized as well for traversing environments.
A lot of games are utilizing that warp mechanic now.
Yeah.
To help out with the motion sickness. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. To kind of help with motion sickness. And I mean, a game like Doom where you got demons coming at you from all corners, like you're going to be warping a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of frightening in and of itself. But I think that's cool. I part of me really wants to just bite the bullet, build a sweet PC and get a Vive and or a Rift,
mm-hmm.
But I like these 2 games especially. Like I would love to play Doom in VR. Fallout I would have some concerns with just because Fallout games aren't the most smooth performances.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want janky frame dropping in VR. You don't want that, and that's a big concern for me with Fallout 4 in VR.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you right now, dude, and I mean, obviously, it's Bethesda, so anything goes. But having played Fallout 4 on PC with some pretty good settings, the game runs great on PC. I've never encountered any major like frame rate issues on PC, not like we've encountered on consoles. But I think it runs fine actually on PC, and I think it will actually do very, very well in VR on PC.
Yeah, especially if you have a PC that's able to run a Vive.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is Doom a game you really want to play in VR though?
Doom's the one that's a little bit harder for me to swallow because that game is just so twitch. It is so fast paced, and I mean, the way the guy was bouncing around, like you said, you're using that porting or whatever it's called, and you're constantly on the move, you're constantly spinning around. Doom would take a lot of practice. I would have to do a lot of practice to be able to handle Doom. And the only other issue I have with Fallout 4 is, somebody brought it up in the chat, Super Cooper did, is he said, for the most part, if I push myself, I can get 2 hours in of VR straight. 2 hours in if I go real hard. And then if you take that and put that 2 hours against the playtime of a Fallout title, it would take you, it would take me I don't know how long to actually play through Fallout 4 in VR. That was a great point somebody made. So, with Fallout 4, it's obviously giving me a time investment. Doom is just going to be an assault on the senses. I don't even know if I'd be able to play Doom.
Yeah, just that's kind of Doom's thing, being fast paced, moving quickly, high octane action. You lose some of that if you're just teleporting around the map, just shooting guys in VR, right? It's not really the same Doom experience. So, this could be cool, but it could also be a case study that not all games need to be in VR, or not all games can excel in VR.
It's a good point too.
You guys bring up good points about both Doom and with Fallout. Yeah, just an inordinate amount of time it would take to get through that game in VR. I mean, you'd be playing it for the next 5 years before you actually finished it in VR. So that's the VR stuff that Bethesda showed. They didn't show any dates for any of this, did they, or what they were thinking about in terms of time frames? I missed them if they were there.
Obviously, it'll be this year.
Yeah,
sure. They said everything's coming out this year, so that's interesting. So I guess look out for that this fall. From there they moved into Elder Scrolls Online. They just showed us a trailer for Morrowind. I guess there's a mode you can play at the event there. Obviously that game's out now. Over 10 million players in ESO, so that game going strong. They also mentioned the Creation Club coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
This is for both Skyrim and Fallout 4. Interesting thing about this is content that's curated and made by Bethesda Game Studios and other professional creators. These are not user-created mods. These are game developers who are making content for Skyrim and Fallout 4 and bringing it to the masses. You'll have access to this through some type of an in-game store which uses credits, which we're unsure of if you can earn these credits in-game or if this is only purchased with real money. They didn't specify that on the stream. This will be out this summer on all three platforms, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, that these games are on. So, sounds pretty cool, right? To actually have real professional curated content being made for these games. And man, Bethesda just getting the most out of Skyrim. And this is a game that launched in 2011. And we're here in 2017, just continuously getting updated. It's coming out on a new platform in the Switch. It's got new mods, new Creation Club stuff now. They are just juicing that for all it's worth. So good on them for that. I don't know, Brent, is this an idea you're behind, this Creation Club?
I've never really been into mods in the first place, and I know a lot of people love mods, and that's great. But when I play a game, I just like to play it the way it's meant to be played, the way it was originally, envisioned. And, by the time I get through a game like Skyrim or a game like Fallout 4, I really don't want to go back through and play through the whole thing using mods again. I just don't have time for that. If other people do, I get that and I respect that, but it's just not something I can really get into. And I want to know more about this Creation Club. I think it's a cool concept. I'm curious to see what the credits are, how you attain these credits. Are we talking, are these going to be paid mods, or is it just going to be credits you can earn in game by, completing objectives and whatnot?
Yeah, definitely. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for more information on that. From there, we moved into Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game that is this already out?
Yeah.
Okay, this has been out for a while.
Devices.
I know we've seen this at a conference before from them. So Elder Scrolls Legends, getting some new content, Heroes of Skyrim, that'll be out on June 29th. The game comes to Android and iPhone devices next month. So you be on the lookout for that. Frankie, you mentioned some interest in getting into a card game, Elder Scrolls Legend. Doing anything from you? Maybe pick it up on your Android when it comes out next month?
Yeah, I'm going to keep my eye on this one. It looks interesting. It really does. I want to get into one of these card games, but I haven't, I dabbled with the Gwent beta on Xbox, and I don't think a card game on consoles works. So honestly, if I'm going to get into one of these, I'd rather it be on my phone, and this is one I've been waiting for them to bring to either iPhone or Android phone. So I'm definitely interested in trying this thing out when it drops.
Right on. From the card game there, then we moved into kind of the meat of the show here. So we saw Skyrim on the Switch. Still didn't get a date for it. oddly enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess Brent, you said there was a tweet this fall or something like that.
Oh
Right?
yeah, Bethesda and Nintendo
Okay.
have both sent out a tweet saying it is coming out this
So
fall.
so just this fall on that.
Yep.
Just assume October.
The way everything's
Just
looking,
assume,
yeah.
Just assume October on that. And they showed the one of the cool things they showed was the Link amiibo will unlock Link or some maybe his armor or something inside of the game. It was unclear exactly what it was unlocking, but looked to have his garb and the Master Sword in there going through and playing Skyrim.
And the shield as well.
Yep.
Shield as well. Yep. So that's cool. Motion controls, not cool.
Yeah.
So we saw those in action. So if you want to set your Switch up in tabletop mode, grab some Joy-Cons, go to work in motion controls, you can do that. I don't know. Would you guys think of what you saw from Skyrim on the Switch, Brent? You're obviously a huge Skyrim fan. You thinking about quad dipping on this? I don't know how many times you bought this game, but
Too much. No, I mean, this is something I'll definitely pick up. I mean, I love Skyrim. Having it on the go is very, very appealing. I mean, that's the one thing I've always wanted from the Switch are these big AAA games that you can play on the go. We got it from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We're going to get it from Skyrim here. We'll have it with Super Mario Odyssey. So I'm definitely down for this. I mean, it looks like obviously some concessions were probably made to get this game to run in terms of its visuals. But, again, the video on YouTube, obviously you can't see here, is running at 60 frames. And they're playing the Switch version. So if they get the Switch version running at 60 frames with some cutback, but then again, some parts aren't 60. But however, as long as this thing runs decent, I'll be very happy with Skyrim on here.
that's the $64,000 question with Skyrim on the Switch: is will this thing work?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that all pans out. Frankie, any interest in this?
Probably not. I have Skyrim on the PS4. And I don't have many options to be playing something on the go, so it doesn't make sense for me to pick it up on the Switch.
I'm right there with you. So from Skyrim, we moved into Dishonored, was something we talked a little bit about during the pre-show, where the possibility of some DLC for one of these games. And Dishonored does indeed have DLC coming in September, called Death of the Outsider. It's dropping September 15th, 2017, which is a week after Destiny 2. So sorry, Dishonored. But we saw a really cool trailer. We got this like a cyborg female character, and she was just giving out the business to some of these enemies that were walking around this map here. It was all CG. We didn't get to see any gameplay from it, but I don't know, looks cool. Brent, have you forgiven Dishonored? Might you dive back into its DLC when it arrives in September?
Yeah, that damn bug really just irritated the hell out of me, and the fact that I couldn't complete the mission without her dying, it wouldn't let me get the clean hands trophy. So I actually just stopped playing at that point because I was like, I'm just gonna wait to see if it's something that gets patched in, and I have yet to go back in and play it because I want, like I said, when it comes to playing games, I want to get the most out of it right away, and I want the clean hands trophy. That's just a trophy I love to get when you play a game like this and not kill anybody. But a glitch was causing a character to die over and over again, and I wasn't even near her, and it counted as a death when I looked at my stats. So, but no, this trailer looked rad. I mean, it looked really, really good. 2 new characters that are totally badass, and yeah, I mean, I was just really surprised that this is getting DSL at all or DLC at all, because we know it didn't sell very well, and for them to spend some time and add DLC that looks like it's pretty substantial, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Frankie, you got Dishonored on your backlog list anytime soon?
I would really like to. I'm gonna just stick to playing it on Xbox when I do get back to it, because I'm like Brent, and if I start chasing a trophy and I screw it up, I'm not gonna finish the game. That's the thing I hate about trophies the most is you start going after some of these like that, and like once you kind of screw it up and have to either just throw away 3 hours of work, like that's not something that I want to do anymore. I don't have the time to do that,
Mm-hmm.
So at some point I want to get back into that on Xbox, because I have it on there as well. So hopefully someday. I wonder if this is a standalone though, because I can't help but to feel like they're probably going to do this as a standalone, because they didn't have a Dishonored 2 logo anywhere on there.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually with you on that, just because like you mentioned, Brent, the game has not sold very well from what we've seen. So I think a standalone DLC is the way to go for this. Put it out for $20, let people get on there and buy a shortened campaign from it, and maybe get a taste of Dishonored, get into it, see what it's all about, and then maybe go out and pick up some of the other games if they like it. That might be the best way to do things.
And I'm gonna
So
go ahead and say you guys are right, because even on Bethesda's YouTube channel now, it's called Dishonored. It doesn't
Yeah.
even have the 2 next to it. So yeah, this is looking like it's going to be more of an kind of like an add-on than it is like a direct related DLC.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. Like we were saying, if it was a part of Dishonored 2 at one point, they were probably like, yeah, we need to break this off. This hasn't sold the way that we wanted it to. So that's September 15th, 2017, the fall. Lots of games are picking up release dates in there now. So
Oh yeah.
it's going to be a very, very busy fall in what's been a very, very busy year in video games. So that's Death of the Outsider. Then we saw some footage from Quake Champions. They talked about the QuakeCon coming up, and some of the prizes that you can win as part of that. That game's in beta now on the PC. Still no sign of consoles on that one. Then we got to the big finale to the show. So the 2 games we were anticipating we were going to see, they showed up and they did not disappoint. So we got the Evil Within 2 showed up first. It's coming out Friday the 13th, October, Friday the 13th, which is awesome. And we saw a pretty wicked, creepy trailer. There was all kinds of weird stuff going on here. There was lots of gore and dismemberment and people drowning in milk, and just a lot of like weird, crazy, kooky stuff here. Frankie, you were anticipating the Evil Within 2,
Just
and the Evil Within 2 showed up.
bullseye.
So what'd you think of the trailer, man?
It was creepy as hell. Especially like you get towards the end of it, and I'm pretty sure that's when they kind of started showing some gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah, that was definitely
holy
gameplay at the end there.
shit, dude! Just seeing some of these creatures you're going to be facing in this game, this looks like it's going to be a freaking nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Yeah.
wait to play it though. It looked awesome.
Yeah, and this is from Shinji Mikami, the creator of Resident Evil. So we know he's got some twisted designs in his mind. We can only imagine some of the things that he's going to cook up in here. Brent, this looked like something right up your alley. I know you enjoyed what you played of the Evil Within. What'd you think about what we saw from this trailer?
Oh, dude, this looks just like you said, right up my alley. I mean, lots of disturbing visuals, lots of gore, and I'm sure it'll have a mind-twisting plot. It's just, this is what I want out of a horror game. And for this to drop October 13th, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, dude. But I got to get back in there and finish up the first one. I know I'm only a couple chapters away, and then get ready for this one, man.
Yeah, this one's got a Scream Stream written all over it.
Oh yeah, we'll be streaming this.
Get this fired up. So, Frankie, you mentioned hopefully with them moving into the next generation fully, like they'll be able to take full advantage of the hardware. Won't see some of the performance issues that we saw in the original Evil Within. The game looked great from what we saw of it, and I really like this trailer as well. It's very, very creepy, very very psychological and disturbing, and there's some crazy stuff going on in here, and I'm really, really intrigued to see what becomes the Evil Within. But I thought that was a strong trailer. And then Bethesda came out and they finished out the show with another game we were expecting to see, and that's Wolfenstein II: The New Colossus. It is a reality. It's coming this year, October 27th, 2017. 2 weeks after the Evil Within, and it's right in there with Shadow of War and a bunch of other stuff that's coming out.
Same day as Assassin's Creed.
South Park, Assassin's Creed, a lot of stuff filling into October now. So, as always, it'll be a very busy fall for us as gamers. But man, this Wolfenstein 2 trailer stole the show. Absolutely, was a lengthy trailer. We saw lots of story bits, and then at the end we saw a pretty wicked gameplay montage, which was 2 or 3 minutes of just balls to the wall action. Just the game looks great. It's running. It's definitely targeting 60 frames. Graphically, it looks to be a huge improvement from the last game. Another game where they've moved on from the previous generation, so they are fully in the next generation with Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. Pete Hines at the end there, he mused about how crazy this game was when as a pregnant woman with twins just stabbed a Nazi to death while this guy's like doing acid behind her. So yeah, and he tried to pick up some like cartoon character that he saw after he dropped some acid. So some crazy wild stuff going on in this game. Looked absolutely incredible though. was thought it was a great showing for Wolfenstein. Brent,
Mhm.
what'd you think, man?
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this story looks like it's going to be even more just insane than the first one, but the gameplay just looks what you would expect from a Doom game. But the one thing I loved about the first Doom or of the reboot, everyone's talked about it, is it mixes the insane gameplay that you're used to from
You mean
Doom. Or I'm sorry,
Wolfenstein?
not Doom. It's late.
Is it my shirt?
Wolfenstein.
Is it my shirt?
It's
doing that to
it's
you?
your shirt, damn it. But
Subliminal messaging.
Wolfenstein.
I
I'm
like
sorry, Wolfenstein. The first one. It's just it has all this crazy combat, all this awesome combat, fluid, exciting, intense. But it had a nice, awesome story woven in with it. And based on what we've seen here, this looks like it's going to be insane. But I'm sure it'll be a well-written story. We'll have some good character development mixed in with all the awesome combat that we saw later at the end of the trailer.
Yeah. And Frankie, this has the potential to be a really cool narrative. We've got kind of this resistance movement that's being put together to kind of tackle the Nazi occupation, and seems like the recipe is there for an epic story. The gameplay just looks wild and action packed. Graphically looks awesome. What'd you think of what you saw, man?
Again, really excited. That that was just absolutely crazy watching all the stuff going on. I'm pretty sure there's a point where he's rolling around in a wheelchair just mowing down Nazis. But
Yeah.
man, I'm excited, dude. I wasn't sure what would happen with him at the end, after what happens at the end of the first game. So he's looking, a little rough around the edges. But some of the other things I noticed was, obviously they had the part of the game where you're kind of riding one of those, I don't know what they call them, those big mechanical dogs.
Well, Liesel or whatever.
Liesel.
Yeah, Liesel. But another part was he was walking outside, and the shadow that he casts, like it looked like he had robotic legs.
Ooh.
So I'm wondering like what kind of stuff we're gonna be doing in this game, because obviously he's pretty banged up.
Mm-hmm.
So you got this other dude. I guess he's one of the resistance leaders, and his arms are mechanical, and he's like shoving a potato chip into his face. But so I'm wondering like what kind of shape BJ's in, what kind of stuff he's gonna be using to get around. Obviously that dog, some kind of mechanical thing to be riding around mowing down Nazis with. I don't know, man. It's gonna be crazy. I cannot wait to play this game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the new Colossus clearly the star of the show here. So overall, really they could have just showed me the evil within a Wolfenstein 2, and that would have been okay. The first 20 minutes or so, I could have give or take on that. Didn't really bother me. But the ending of the show was really really strong, and what they showed there in the Evil Within 2 and the new Colossus looked very very promising. And the fact that they're both out this year is great. But it's another one of those things like, man, how are we gonna play this stuff? Like seriously. I don't think the video game industry like thinks that any of us have jobs. I really don't. So,
Actually, Ben, I think they think we have a ton of jobs because they keep kicking out all these games in October. Maybe that's the numbers they're getting.
Yeah, I don't know when they expect us to play all this stuff. But Frankie, your final thoughts on what you thought from Bethesda here?
I felt it was a very strong show. I wasn't sure what to expect coming in, because obviously last year, you had Dishonored 2, you had obviously Doom had come out, so they're showing off some more Doom stuff. You had Prey, which they announced last year, so all that stuff has been out. So coming in here, I wasn't sure what to expect outside of Wolfenstein. I'm happy that they're giving the Evil Within a sequel. I wasn't sure how that game did. Overall though, I felt it was a great show. I saw three things exciting me. Like I'm all about more Dishonored, Wolfenstein, Evil Within. I'm even excited about playing a card game. So it was a good time.
Gotcha. So Brent, it was a short show, but they jam packed the end of the show with some really cool stuff. What are your final thoughts on what we saw from Bethesda here?
I thought it was a really strong show. I mean, they show early on in the first part of the show that they're still supporting the games that they have out there. We saw some new stuff, obviously Morrowind at ESO. They showed that. We're getting new Dishonored content, which I don't think anybody expected, regardless if it was Dishonored 2 or a spin-off. I mean, nobody expected anything from Dishonored, so that's cool. They're supporting that. We saw some card games. We see that Bethesda is committed to VR, bringing two of their biggest franchises to VR. You got Fallout 4, what we knew about. Doom 4 was surprising. I still don't know how anybody's going to be able to play that at that speed that you play Doom. But the early part was very, very strong, and then they hit it out at the end with the Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein. And the thing is about both those trailers, I mean, they were just well put together trailers. They weren't just your typical, reveal trailer. I mean, there was some depth to these trailers. They showed you a lot. I mean, it was still mysterious in many ways, but very, very, very strong Bethesda press conference here. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, those trailers they assembled at the end there were assembled like a movie trailer often is. So they show you kind of these snippets of narrative and kind of give you some of the story beats, and then at the end they just kind of show all the cool action sequences to get you hyped about the movie. And that's kind of what Bethesda did here. They gave us the story, the narrative elements, and they hit us at the end with like the gameplay montage with the high octane action, get us excited about actually getting in there and picking up the controller for the game. So good stuff from Bethesda. That's going to do it for us this evening. Oh, go ahead, Frankie.
I was going to add just I thought it was really cool that they kind of I don't want to say took a page out of Sony's conference from last year, but the fact that Pete was there to like introduce the show, and then it was just we didn't see him again until the end. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mused on the stream that Pete was probably really excited when he saw the script for this year's show.
Yeah,
he was like, man, that's all I got to do. I got a couple lines here and then I'm out. Let's do it.
Best job ever.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for us. That's the Bethesda conference in a nutshell. So once again, make sure you stay tuned to our YouTube channel here. We've got 2 more conferences coming tomorrow. So we'll be live for Ubisoft and PlayStation. As their conferences go live, we'll be reacting live, and then we'll do our kind of wrap-up reaction video afterwards. So make sure you stay locked into our YouTube page for all that stuff. Follow us on our website too, www.shortpause.com. All of our coverage is on there. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel here, Short Pause Gaming, so that you don't miss anything from us. Our Twitter handles are down here. Follow us at the Short Pause on Twitter as well. So for Brent, for Frankie, I'm Ben. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern for the Ubisoft conference. See you guys later.
Good night, everybody.
Later.